I was very young. The story I'm telling you, I don't know if it's the late 70s or early 80s when this story I told you. And it's going to have two of my seniors who are both ancestors now. It's going to have Paul Atkins and it's going to have Brad. But it's the first time I heard the name Bright. But to draw a picture in your mind, because some of you don't, a lot of the pictures up there, you don't know who they were. So I'm going to call out some of the names of some of the other ancestors from the picture. First, we're going to start with Sifu Denshin. We're going to start off with Randy. What is Randy's last name?
Bennett.
Randy Bennett. Eugene Mackey. Help me out. Some of the other names I forgot. Paul Atkins.
Uncle Matthew.
Uncle Matthew. Jack Evans.
Jack Evans.
All those people in the pictures, they were hardcore Jalga guys. They're no longer with us. It's like they're all probably partying together right now. But the time period, you know, James Brown, that was a big part of Baraha. But that was a big part of that time period.
Yep.
Muhammad Ali,
Yep.
that personality. We saw it on TV, but we also saw it in the gym where we trained. Meaning when I see Baraha train, you know, you see this type of personality coming out of the gym every day. So that's going to take me to the story I'm going to tell. The first time I saw a technical knockout in a Kung Fu school when somebody challenged the school. It was in Paul Atkins' class. I was a kid, so I can tell the way a kid would see it. So if I embellish a little, you know, that's fine because this is the way I saw it. So when I was a kid and I would see Paul train, it was a heavy bag like that bag back there, and I would sit down and watch him kick the bag, and he kicked the bag all the way up to the ceiling. But he didn't give it time to swing before it came back. As soon as it came back down, boom, he kicked it back up to the ceiling. And he just keep on doing that for about 10 or 15 minutes, and that was his warm-up. Then he'd switch legs, do the same thing on the other side, just kick the bag up to the ceiling. That was his warm-up. In his class, you weren't allowed to talk. So, you know, you might have somebody new in the classroom in the back, and they don't understand what a horse dance is, and then first day they'll say something, I don't understand that. Everybody would go, because he didn't make that person pay for it. He made everybody in the class pay for it, maybe push-ups, and it'll be some type of, you know, hard understanding that you don't speak while you're training. That being said, in the original Jaga school, there were always some chairs near the door where visitors were allowed to come in and watch the class. So this day, a guy was, I don't know, he was crazy. He came in and watched the class, and Paul was talking and Paul was teaching, and he was saying something, and this guy on the class said, that won't work. Paul paused, everybody in the class was shaking because, you know, you don't talk in his classroom. And he said, sir, you sitting there, you can watch class, but, you know, you can't talk, you know, it's not something we do here. And he continued to teach. And he was doing something else. The guy said, that won't work either. And, you know, they tried to get him to calm down. They said, you know, he was determined he was going to fight Paul. So Paul said, you know, hey, help him gear up. He didn't want no gear. You know, they were going to do a bare knuckle. So they got up and they bit off, and, you know, I can't, certain parts are fuzzy, but they started to spar. They were starting to fight in the classroom. And while they were fighting, Paul was being nice to this guy because he did something, and Paul tagged him and said, keep your hands up. The guy ignored, you know, he should have, that don't work. You know, they kept on going, and evidently he made the same mistake twice because the second time he made that mistake, Paul hit him with that side kick. And now, this is why I don't know if I'm embellishing tonight. As a kid, I saw this guy fly up in the air, flip, hit the wall, and slide down to the side unconscious. Now, this is where Bright comes in. Paul said, Bright, take him in the office and tell him what he did wrong. Now, if you know Bright, and then class continued. But, you know, I was still listening to what was going on. He said, man, the first thing you did wrong is you don't talk when you come to classroom. That's crazy. You can't talk to you. He said, the second thing you did was when he told you to keep your hands up, you didn't keep your hands up. And he must have talked to me. They must have had him in the office for about an hour before they got him conscious enough that he could get carried down to the street to leave the original school. But this was the visions that I had of the guys that I learned from. So, you know, that's my little story. I might take another 5 minutes. I hope y'all enjoy it.